Welcome back, everyone, to Vox Markets. My name is Paul Hill. I'm delighted again to be able to speak to Exec Chairman Patrick Desouza of Water Intelligence and CEO Will Knell of American Leak Detection, a one-stop shop for all things water leak detection, repair, and preventative maintenance. So, welcome, gents.
Well, thank you, Paul.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
Morning,
big
Paul.
big congrats on today's strong first half of results and inline guidance with adjusted EBITDA jumping 16% to $9.2 million on sales, 8% higher at $45 million. Maybe we can start there, Patrick. I don't suppose you could just quickly take the audience through what's been driving that growth and particularly how you see the momentum into the second half and Q3 after that really quite excellent performance in Q2.
no, thank you. Well, first of all, for us, it's an exciting time to be in this segment of the industry because, when you look at all the risk that's out there in the world, from geopolitical to supply chain to different, countries, for us, water leaks are everywhere. So we don't have the same kind of barriers that people think of in terms of trade deals. Also, 90% of our business is in the US, where we're already finding leaks. So, in terms of water leaks being present everywhere, price of water going up, and the fact that people are looking for solutions that extend from water monitoring, can you even alert me that I have a leak, to pinpoint my leak, fix my leak, and then help me in an aftercare mode, a subscription model, if you will. So the market is moving in that direction. And again, for our releases, we've been capturing it as preventive maintenance. So I make one broad remark and then we can get into the numbers.
Yeah.
The one broad remark is this preventive maintenance concept is like the economics surrounding healthcare. So many years ago, healthcare started with a revolution, precision medicine. Don't cut up the entire patient. Then, if you've noticed over the last decade, preventive care has been the mantra for healthcare, largely because you can save a lot of money if you do things in advance of the catastrophic failure in terms of health. The same thing is now applying to the water industry. So, as the price of water goes up, the very thing that American Leak Detection, our core business, made its name on was using technology for precision medicine, if you will, right? Precision, minimally invasive leak detection. So we used acoustic and infrared. Fantastic. But now with the preventive maintenance aspect, what people are looking for is, do you have monitoring products out there that are wireless that will provide an alert so we can get ahead of the curve and get a bigger damage? So we've set up a partnership, which is the hallmark of our first half performance, with Streamlabs, a wireless monitoring company that makes the highest quality water monitoring equipment. And that's a company owned by Chubb, one of the largest insurance companies in the world, and with whom we actually have a national service contract. So if you look at what's happening in the marketplace, whether it's insurance companies, property management, individual homeowners, everyone is looking and riveted on this preventive maintenance aspect. And the nice thing is we have a collection of assets that Will Knell will describe that allow us to have a competitive advantage and be the only nationwide platform that can offer this one-stop shop, if you will, as you described,
Yeah.
to all these homeowners. So for us, a very exciting time given the fact that we have tailwinds in terms of the market. We are a defensive stock in terms of not really suffering through geopolitical volatility. And we've made some strategic partnerships that allow us to really then ramp up both revenue and profits.
Yeah. And just
So with
on,
that, let me just offer a couple of thoughts on the first half of the year, connect the dots to what I just said, and then maybe turn it over to Will for let's go through some details in terms of under his leadership, how we getting the whole company geared up for another acceleration and growth. Is that
yeah.
fair enough?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, just on that, on the profit margins, the other thing which was a big standout was the Q2 profit margins, EBITDA, jumped from 18% in Q1 to around about nearly 23% in Q2. Obviously, that the top line jumped, but growth wise from 4% in Q1 to 12%. Is that second quarter performance sort of sustainable going
Well,
forward?
we believe it is, and the sustainability really underpins what Will is going to talk to about the Dallas template.
Mm.
So if you look at just a minor headline to preview what Will is going to say, his corporate location, um, again, if you remember, we bought back the Dallas franchise. Will has been a leader in the franchise system and the owner of the Dallas franchise. So everything that we're going to be doing going forward really copies the success of his Dallas franchise as a template for all the other 45 corporate locations. So if you look at then, as you were saying, margins and margin improvement, as reported in our audit statement, the Dallas operation really generates about 30% margin. That is a lot higher than if you look at the aggregate of corporate stores in our audit, about 18% margin. So the sustainability of margin improvement can be driven very simply by implementing the Dallas template across the US. Second piece, to the extent that we've already made our investments in Salesforce, again, back to operating performance and scalability as a one-stop shop, we don't need as many items called what software, headcount, that are just geared for one location, right? So now that we have data flowing among 45 to 46 locations corporate and then across the franchise system, there are definite efficiencies of scale. So if you look at those two drivers as underpinning your question about is it sustainable? Answer, we're pretty confident it is. And over the next few quarters, as we've outlined in today's results, we will be producing KPIs, key performance indicators, that are really geared to show the follow through in terms of investments we've previously made and investments around which we have a competitive advantage. Meaning, who else has a national platform company across the US that is a one stop shop? So for us, it's a great opportunity to show all the things we've done and all the things we're about to do.
Well, you just made my day there, Patrick. That was fabulous to hear about how the business is scaling. Now, if we just move now, Will, to the rollout, I don't suppose you could take us through how that's progressing. You know, the Dallas template, pushing that out to across the whole of the US, and also integrating the Streamlabs products and the technical enabled services.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, Paul. Yeah, I mean, initially kind of Q1, as I got comfortable in this new role, kind of identified, three different areas where we could really kind of implement some things and drive some organic margin growth. The Streamlabs, introduction of that product and the preventative maintenance concept was certainly one of them, and that corporate store P&L performance was another one. Looking at the performance of the different stores, I just identified significant room for improvement by implementing a proven model of success that I had used to grow my business and acquire that 30% margin. One of those, key cost structures is just in how we incentivize or how we comp our technicians and creating an incentive-based comp structure that one rewards the technician and motivates them to really perform at their full capacity and potential, but also to have it in such a way that it allows you to manage that labor rate at a predetermined amount, which drives a successful margin. And so we did in Q2 and Q3, we started to implement that, that structure for corporate stores. We will be done implementing that by the end of Q4. And that is, part of the reason why we're seeing some margin growth already.
Yeah.
Is simply due to implementation of that template.
And is that better? Is that
And it
better?
simply
Is that
goes
is that
beyond just,
sorry,
go
sorry.
ahead, Paul.
Is that better utilization of your engineers, your service engineers, essentially? Getting.
Sure, absolutely. You're maximizing how much you're getting out of every truck on the road, essentially, right? But you're doing it by motivating them and giving them the tools necessary, and making them directly responsible for the revenue generated by that truck, and then giving them a piece of that revenue. I always kind of used to talk to my technicians about the concept of them almost running their own small little business. Maintaining those customer relationships, being extremely efficient in how they run their truck, very organized, very clean, very neat, and very tidy. There's a lot of elements to it, but when you start to talk to them about thinking about things this way and how that can have a direct impact on their ability to be successful and put food on the table and acquire levels of, comp that they never thought attainable, that's when it really kind of starts to drive everything. I mean, step one is obviously managing that cost and making it a direct reflection of the revenue that that truck generates. Once you do that and you present that opportunity to them, then you start to see that truck that was, maybe doing, $20,000 a month in revenue is now doing 30, 40, $50,000 a month in revenue because people are driven by opportunity. And when they see that opportunity in front of them, there's no ceiling, perceived ceiling even, they go far beyond what they originally thought they were capable of doing. I've seen it happen over the last 25 years, time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest things of feedback I get from technicians after they've been with me for a while is they never thought they would be able to acquire this level of, compensation being in a plumbing job.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting for me because I love giving people that opportunity, and it does drive real results, very quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be done, rolling through that by the end of Q4. And then when it comes to the Streamlabs kind of element of our tech-enabled services concept, it's obviously directly related to the preventative maintenance strategy that we began the end of last year. It's one of the key elements of that. Q2 and Q3 was really focused on running through the pilot program, in key markets throughout the U.S. To evaluate the potential and, train personnel on installation and sales. Um, we've really been doing the all of the installations for Streamlabs because they drive their own organic sales, and then we are the partner that enables them to be able to get the installation done, across the entire country. It's one of the benefits of having our national footprint
Mm.
is we give them that opportunity to be able to get those installations done. So we've been doing that for them, and that gives us opportunities to refine the training and refine the processes. We've set up a call center in Connecticut, building off of our existing call center that we had for managing, regular jobs that came in, but now making it a call center focused on Streamlabs to handle installation, sales, assignments that come from Streamlabs or our own organic sales, and also give support to clients and monitor the dashboard that's installed to monitor the health of the plumbing system after the device has been installed, and then respond to any sort of alerts that the devices indicate come up after the installation is complete so that American Leak Detection can be the first responder to address any of those issues when they arise.
Yeah.
So that stuff is all also coming to a wrap up at the end of Q4. And we're as we've kind of put all these things in place to make that Streamlabs component truly successful.
Yeah, and it's obviously it's a win-win for the service engineers, the franchisees, and the company. Is it also a win for the customer? Have you had any feedback of the new services like the preventative maintenance being pushed, put out through the rest of the US from the clients themselves?
Yeah, sure, absolutely, absolutely. Response from our, residential clients, that's a lot of what Streamlabs and Chubb and where we've been focusing things on has been overwhelmingly positive. The device performs exceptionally well. It was rooted in the technology, it being, using ultrasonics to monitor water flow. The fact that this device has so many different elements to it, whether it be the device that shuts the water off or a device that we can just clamp on and monitor flow and temperature, to another device that is just a sensor that they all report back to the same app on someone's phone or the dashboard that we can monitor. It having that capability to do all those different things out of one company is really unique within the market, and customers really appreciate that because we can put these different elements around their home to protect their home in different ways. We've actually now started to identify opportunities with our commercial clients who we've been doing business with for years, if not decades, some of them, that have a real need for this same preventative maintenance solution at commercial properties, to minimize the amount of time it takes for them to respond to water waste or water usage due to a leak, and then also manage and eliminate business downtime, which the opportunity cost there is huge. A little bit different perspective than our residential clients, but really we're finding that this preventative maintenance solution has even bigger value for our commercial clients. And we're even proposing these preventative maintenance solutions with Streamlabs being the focus to some of their facilities, which they have, all over the country.
Excellent. Okay, good. Obviously, it's all systems go for the US. Now, Patrick, could you say a few words in terms of the international operations? Because the revenues there were up 64% in that first half. I guess some of that's M&A, but what are you seeing there in terms of Australia, the UK, and is it Canada, I think?
Yeah, absolutely, and Ireland.
Yeah.
So just a couple of quick headlines. Absolutely. Sales growth on the international side of the business grew 64%. Again, a smaller pool of sales. On the other hand, we expect that to be sustainable for a couple of reasons. First, going back to the addressable market, leaky pipes are everywhere. So whether it's, this is a global issue. So for us, if you have a fragmented uh, industry of service providers and we're the national brand and we have scalable operations, we can do that everywhere. So if you look at the two sources of growth, one organic, one acquisition that underpins the international, they actually are microcosms of what Will has talked about. So for example, in Australia, there's been quite a big turnaround in terms of organic growth. So if you look at our results from 24, um, and you will see the results 25, market difference, fantastic. And a lot goes to things like Will has been guiding the entire company on in terms of the Dallas template. So whether it's Dallas or Sydney, there's just a template that goes to energizing the labor force and taking advantage of the leaky pipes. They're everywhere. In terms of, let's just say Ireland, that transaction from a year ago will wind up to be a home run. Now, to be sure, as you note in the release, there's an earnout structure which manages our risk. But in terms of the actual underlying cash generation, highly profitable and growing fast. And again, connecting the dots, Irish Water is committed to investing resources in water infrastructure in Ireland. We now have critical mass of plumbers, and we're going to be teaching them leak detection. So just almost a box, we have a template for growth, and again, growth in terms of our whole group business. So again, the combination of the U.S. market, which has critical mass, huge market, risk adjusted, and an international side that can complement in a complementary way, keep adding to growth. Those two are sustainable drivers for the future.
Brilliant. Are you seeing any on the international side? Are you seeing any sort of demand from the UK utilities in terms of sewage prevention? Because I know you've got some products. Is it the Pulse, which does the sort of detection of in pipes, block pipes that would stop obviously sewers getting blocked and then spilling sewage into rivers and reservoirs.
Well, we keep growing in that direction, and we have a proprietary tool that helps us. Now, while I can't comment about the UK
Yeah.
governmental policy, one of the things that people have been asking me about is that to the extent that I understand the UK government is interested in energizing its labor force, especially young people, with government spending. This is a good sign in terms of the kinds of things we're able to contribute to. So all
Yeah.
across the US, Ireland, Australia, we've trained young people to go the profession of leak detection. We can do the same thing to the extent that that's a complementary public-private partnership in the UK. So in terms of whether it's, purely private run households, property management, or even partnerships with the public sector, municipal, we have the capability, the technology and the training to do it all.
Good. Brilliant. Okay, well, after an excellent sort of first half, there was a note I'll just highlight to investors from Simon Thompson of Investors Chronicle today, saying there's a glaring disconnect between the company's performance and the share price. So I don't know whether there's any sort of like comments you could make in terms of the road ahead for shareholders, because the shares have been rather weak of late.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know about some of the drivers there, but a couple of things. Let's go back to capital allocation policy and then what we plan to do. So if we stick to the fundamentals, everything that Will described in terms of organic growth, including Streamlabs, our goal for Streamlabs is to really double the size of our existing business in the next few years. And if you just compute out, and again, it seems like how is that even possible, right? Well, if you think we have 200,000 households that we go to currently, if we just have a small penetration rate there, plus property management and insurance companies, then think about what the Streamlabs transaction brings us. First, we have preferred partner pricing, so we can sell the device to all of those addressable pieces of the market. In addition to those units, which then connect to our leak detection and repair, so again, a nice seamless quality to it. As Will mentioned, we also get installation fees. We also get additional leak detection and repair, aftercare, such as a subscription model. So if you just really look at that unit attached to our installed base of customers, the addressable market, which is huge, our national channel structure, and our Salesforce implementation, which allows all the data to be stored in the Salesforce cloud, that combination makes us, kind of excited about the future over the next quarter, the next year, the next following years. So if you look at that set of fundamentals and you look at our, just call it our balance sheet, we generate cash. So again, our EBITDA adjusted is up 16%. We have free cash flow in that our Salesforce investments have already been made. We're able to then think about that, use that cash and deploy it towards organic growth, acquisitions such as some of our franchisees, but also if you really think about share repurchases, that's an announced policy. So we have bought back some shares this year. And so for us, we're not sure why there's a disconnect because the fundamentals lead to a much higher valuation multiple. But to the extent that we have a balance sheet and we have partners that would like to repurchase the shares, that's fine too. We can offer some liquidity. But realistically, we're confident about the future, and we think that the use of our cash allows us to grow the business a lot further.
Brilliant. And then next sort of like news is we have a trading update before the year end, I guess, for Q3.
We will. One exciting moment for the update is coming up. So as Will and I have both been preparing, our annual conference for American Leak Detection is at the end of October. So first, it's coming upon a year since Will took over as CEO. So there's a nice update to the entire franchise system. Second is we'll be closing the books on Q3 around then. And second, we probably have some partnerships coming in terms of the Streamlabs device. So if you look at the critical mass of execution, as we hit October, November, we'll be able to provide everyone an update. And I think that'll be exciting for everybody to hear.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks again, gents, for your time. Brilliant. So, strong first half results. Really like that strong momentum going from Q1 into Q2 in for the rest of the year. So, big congrats and look forward in touching base in a couple of months' time.
Thank you very much, Paul. Everybody have a nice day.